MrBeast is currently trying to undergo the biggest cover-up in YouTube history, with alleged cease and desist letters, deleted comments, and character assassination. This comes after ex-MrBeast employee Dogpack404, also known as Dawson, uploaded 2 videos accusing MrBeast of having a predator on his team, as well as other unethical, fraudulent, and criminal activities. But are these allegations real, or is this all simply a big ploy to smear the reputation of YouTube's most popular creator? Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we're going to be diving into the MrBeast situation. It goes without saying, but MrBeast, aka Jimmy Donaldson, is an extremely popular individual, being the most subscribed YouTuber with a staggering 308 million subscribers. Jimmy built a reputation in the YouTube community for combining acts of extreme generosity with interesting challenges.
Well, I'm a YouTuber, I mean, you can see the camera. And so it's a series where I just, be nice and just give people some help. So it's about $10,000. I'm not joking.
Unfortunately, Jimmy's YouTube empire has recently come under fire following the release of several damning allegations regarding him and his best friend Chris Tyson. On one hand, Chris is facing backlash for alleged inappropriate interactions with minors on a Discord server, which I've already uploaded a full video talking about. On the other hand, Jimmy is being accused of faking key elements of his videos and profiting off fans through shady tactics like illegal lotteries. The majority of the accusations leveled against Jimmy would come from one of his former employees, Dogpack404. On the 24th of July 2024, Dogpack uploaded a video titled, "I worked for MrBeast, he's a fraud," which started with the claim that Jimmy was deliberately manipulating the psychology of young viewers and had been rigging certain portions of his videos.
Hi, I wanted to provide some context to this video. I'm a former MrBeast employee, and today I am alleging that the company rigged videos and did illegal lotteries and sold fake signatures. I would consider that fraud, okay? Thank you, enjoy the video.
Dawson continued the video by outlining the steps of how the MrBeast brand was using reward-based psychology to get young viewers to act in a certain manner.
Now, MrBeast intentionally manipulates these children's vulnerable minds for profit using 3 simple steps, which closely align with the 3 major types of behavioral learning. Step 1 is getting the viewer to associate the brand with trust and authority. MrBeast videos are real, and he's a great guy that gives away big rewards to his loyal followers. I will show you irrefutable evidence in a minute that his videos are in fact fake. Step 2 is showing the viewers that when people interact with MrBeast in a way that benefits MrBeast, when they do what he tells them to do, they win big rewards.
Following this, Dogpack pointed out several inconsistencies and rigged scenarios in a number of Jimmy's previous videos.
Also, if what we had to film was scripted, because what we do is non-scripted, so you have to plan for a bunch of variables that you can't control, blah, blah. If what we did was scripted, holy shit, this stuff would be easy to pump out.
Have you ever faked a video?
No. But this train track is CGI, these bus wheels are CGI, this explosion is fake, this shredder is CGI, this car is digitally lifted, this pit is fake, this guy is fake, this raccoon is a paid actor, this island costs more than $1, this city is not abandoned, these buildings are CGI, but it's not your only way out. You can literally get an Uber to the airport for $20. That's not a lurker. It's just a guy. This whole room is fake. This contestant is an actor and a secret employee at MrBeast. They had him dive through this fake door twice. This line is scripted. This action is scripted. In fact, pretty much all the videos with Mac are scripted.
Including some extra touches to a challenge video in post-production was one thing, but outright influencing the outcome of said challenge or contest was a completely different story.
Okay, so MrBeast fabricates some contestant dialogue and timers and movements and storylines and uses a bunch of shitty CGI, but who really cares? I mean, the videos are just for entertainment only, right? I mean, it's not like he's ever rigged the results of a challenge. That would be impossible because he films with hundreds of random subscribers, right? Wrong. Let's look at this video. Not only were the results of this video completely scripted, but the contestants are not random subscribers.
So many people had jobs.
Oh, that contestant had to get out for her job? I guess you forgot she's your hiring manager. I actually recognize a lot of people in this video, including Jimmy's own girlfriend. So yeah, the random subscribers you see in challenges are actually never random. They're almost always local to MrBeast and oftentimes friends and family of MrBeast employees or just the employees themselves.
In addition to this, Dogpack shared a message from another former employee who claimed that the MrBeast crew decided to rig the contest to avoid a PR problem.
According to a former MrBeast employee, it would have been a PR problem if the boys had won by a lot. And because so many of the female contestants were MrBeast employees who got out immediately, production stepped in to actually make the results of the challenge closer. You can actually see some of this happen on camera, like when Jimmy pays one of the boys $10,000 to leave, which is twice as much as the actual prize money. but doesn't make the same offer to the girls.
The boys were blowing you out of the water. I paid the one guy who knew how to solve them to leave. Now if you don't win, that was all for nothing.
At another point, he gives the girls a camera drone so they would have been able to see how many boys were left. It doesn't work out, but seeing how much they're willing to help them on camera, I'm willing to believe that they did, in fact, help them off camera.
The authenticity of MrBeast's videos wasn't the only thing being called into question, as Dogpack also presented allegations of him exploiting young viewers through illegal lotteries and other dubious marketing tactics.
So now that I've explained some of the ways that MrBeast lies to build trust with his audience, I want to go on to explain how he exploits that trust for profit through running illegal lotteries, selling fake signatures, giving children diabetes, and more.
It's worth noting that, at least in the US, it's illegal for anyone besides the government to hold a lottery. The textbook definition of a lottery is anything that includes the opportunity or chance to win a valuable prize and requires a form of payment to enter. A typical giveaway would have to eliminate any barrier to entry or monetary requirement to be considered legal. According to Dogpack, MrBeast used giveaways to incentivize young viewers into buying more of his merch and other projects.
Of our limited edition 40 mil special shirts, we're celebrating 40 million subscribers with a really big video, then we will sign that shirt and some of them will get random prizes like this. In 10 minutes, right, because we gotta give them time to do their cart, we'll give 2 orders $500 each. 5 minutes, someone's getting $3 grand in their order. In 5 minutes, we're gonna do the same thing again. We're gonna put $1,000 in a random order. 2 minutes, newest order gets $2,000. Good luck, everybody.
So this was a 6-hour live stream. They took it down off YouTube, but 5 hours of it are still up on their Facebook page. And during those 5 hours, I counted 46 illegal lotteries.
Throughout the stream, Jimmy would claim that he'd include something with the most recent orders and that he was giving away too many prizes to make a profit, something that Dogpack alleged wasn't possible.
We need to stop giving everyone something.
We've just lost like 7
almost everything that someone's bought, we put something in their package. I'm not gonna make money.
In 5 hours, they gave away about $50,000 worth of stuff and sold over 50,000 t-shirts. Selling these t-shirts at $42 each, profit margin would be about $22. But even if they were making like $1 per shirt, they would still be fine. Also, by my estimates, only 1 in every 1,600 orders actually won a prize. And I guarantee he has real-time analytics on his laptop. He knows they make more money every time he says, "Oh my God, guys, we're giving away so much stuff. We're not even gonna make a profit. Please, don't you want me to make a profit?"
The giveaway stream was seemingly not an isolated incident, as MrBeast repeated the strategy multiple times on a much larger scale.
4 months later, MrBeast signed shirts again, but this time it was a 24-hour live stream with way more illegal lotteries. And by the way, the rest of these streams were taken down shortly after upload, so all I have is some old clips and Reddit threads talking about them. Now this stream did say, "We are doing a ton of giveaways, no purchase necessary," in the description. But to be eligible to win most prizes, you had to make a purchase.
Would you guys prefer, that we throw money in random orders or that we throw items in random orders?
Yeah.
Somebody screamed in chat, "I want to switch! Hey. Buy a shirt!"
In 30 minutes, we are giving away my car to someone that buys merch.
Dogpack also stated that there were other aspects of the stream that was misleading, such as MrBeast not even signing some of the t-shirts himself.
It does say this limited tee signed by MrBeast and crew, but the description says it's signed by a member of the MrBeast crew. And it doesn't say anywhere that other members will sign MB, deceiving people into believing it was signed by MrBeast. So here's a clip of Tyler using MrBeast's signature. So Tyler signs MB, which is MrBeast's signature. Then he covers it, signs his own initials, TC, smirks, looks around, and then quickly slides the shirt away. Could you make it any more obvious?
If these weren't already signs that MrBeast was open to exposing his young audience to gambling, he almost worked with a predatory sponsor called Mystery Box.
That was about 3 years or 2.5 years ago when I started working with Jimmy. What was becoming really popular were these like mystery loot crate, like internet sites where it's basically like CSGO skins, but you'd go on and it'd be like, here's the Supreme box and you'd pay $50 for it. And remember, it was
didn't Ricegum did quite a few people. Yes,
Yeah, they got a lot of hate for that.
Right.
Jimmy was, he wanted to work with that company when he heard about it because there was a lot of money and we wanted to give that money away in a video, and I had to talk him back on it. I was like, listen, we're not promoting gambling. I think people are gonna see this negatively. So it's a long conversation that him and I had to have, which eventually we passed on the deal, and then Jake Paul and Rice Gum ended up doing that deal and got a lot of hate for it.
Dogpack continued by alleging other MrBeast products such as Feastables had gambling adjacent elements because they included the chance of getting a ticket that could be redeemed for other prizes.
My manager literally said at one point that they wanted to associate buying a Feastables with your dream coming true. So they're pitching ideas like, you know, buy a Feastables, win 10K, buy a Feastables out of a vending machine and the vending machine just starts spitting out money, buy a Feastables and it has a ticket to Disney World, whatever, right? And I don't want to put a lot of like hearsay into this video. You should just believe the receipts that I'm showing you and not what I'm saying. But I swear to God, I said to somebody at the company, I feel like Feastables is 70% a chocolate company and 30% a lottery targeting children. And this higher up person at MrBeast said it was probably closer to the other way around and was laughing about it. Like 70% a lottery, 30% a chocolate company.
However, Dogpack would acknowledge that MrBeast had a no purchase necessary clause in some of their promotional material.
The only place you'll find no purchase necessary is either on the Feastables Twitter account because it's a rule of the platform, and even still they try to push it. No perched neck, or hidden deep in the Feastables website under a FAQ. And to enter for free, you have to mail in separate 3" by 5" hand-addressed written index cards, up to 10 a day. Do you think kids are gonna do that shit or just beg their parents when they're at Walmart for the YouTuber diabetes lottery ticket? How is this legal? How do you mail something without making a purchase?
It was apparent that MrBeast was willing to employ some legally grey marketing tactics to boost product sales, but sadly, this wouldn't be the only time he utilized shady means to get what he wanted. The expose video posted by Dogpack would go on to garner over 11 million views within just 2 weeks of being public, and received an extremely positive reception from viewers, with over 627,000 likes, and supportive comments from viewers stating, "If this video mysteriously disappears, I've downloaded a copy. This comment serves as my confirmation that this video once existed. Bro just exposed the biggest YouTuber ever, followed by 300 million plus people. That's a hell of an achievement." As well as, YouTube should be held accountable for pumping millions for these shady operators to keep exploiting kids. However, as you'd imagine, the response from MrBeast was not so kind, with a member of the MrBeast team coming forward to debunk some of Dogpack's claims, with a tweet from user Chucky stating, "I want to quickly debunk some of the info in this video, since the guy who made it was on my team. It was my decision to fire him for erratic behavior. He worked at the company for less than a month, and wasn't an employee for most of the videos he mentions to have knowledge on. There's so much in his video, and I want to specifically address him saying our videos are fake and staged, because this is not true. I was on the set for many of these videos. You won't get into a video unless your family or friends is someone that works at MrBeast. This is a wild statement that can be easily proven wrong. There's probably hundreds or thousands of people who have no affiliation to friends or family of MrBeast's employees. Think the 456 people in Squid Game, or ages 1 to 100, etc. Jimmy doesn't know more than like a dozen people, lol. The train track was CGI, the bus was a CGI, the pit is fake. He acts like he's exposing us for using CGI to make backgrounds look cool, when we have done multiple public behind the scenes videos with So Crispy showcasing this. It's clearly not a secret. On top of that, we did drive buses in that pit, and same with the train you claim we didn't. The raccoon was a paid actor. I don't even know what to say about this. Clearly not an actor, lol. Island cost more than $1. Not true. We did pay $1 for this island. You can Google MrBeast purchases Outer Banks Island for $1, which stated this before the video was released. He moved into a mansion 2 months before being in a video, $1 million mansion. He talks about how 2 months before we filmed the first Mac video that he moved into a mansion. Mac was staying at a friend's house, and I'm not sure how that proves anything or why it's relevant. The wink was added in post. Bruh, he really did wink. This is a flat out lie again. The revenge storyline was added in post. He implies 42 and 58 was scripted and not real. The contestants themselves have talked about this on streams they did after the video. They legit didn't like each other. He also claimed 58 was on the far opposite side and didn't hear him. Just because he was on the other side of the room, you don't think 58 heard him yell? How on earth would he know? Not only were the results of this video completely scripted, but the contestants are not random subscribers. He claims our 100 boys vs 100 girls video is scripted, and the proof is a random text saying it is. That's it. It was not scripted. Jimmy probably had countless people on set for that video, and it would have been impossible to hide. This video was not scripted. I was on set for this, and there was no bias for who won. He also implies the video is fake because we had some employees in each team. The employees in the video were there to fill in for people who tested positive for COVID last minute before filming. Thea, Jimmy's GF, mentioned this on the podcast over a year ago. If it wasn't for COVID, they would not have been in it. They had the same money on the line as everyone else. Some random text of someone thinking it was rigged doesn't mean it's rigged, lol. Also, I think some of the MrBeast giveaways are fake. We do not fake giveaways. I've been hands-on with some of them, and I've personally been the person to connect winners with our accounting department to get paid. You also suggested we didn't spend $1 million on Samsung phones, and I can assure you we did. Another lie from you. The MrBeast employee would then go on to attempt to present Dogpack as an unreliable source of information by stating he claimed he was under the influence of mushrooms when filming the video. I could keep going on, but I don't want it to be this long. Dawson himself said on Reddit that he was on shrooms and weed when filming this video, which might explain some of the made up stuff. Dawson was only employed from March 25th, 2024, and was let go on April 19th, 2024. He was on a 90-day trial, and we ended it early and paid him out to June 25th, as we guaranteed the 90 days of pay so that he could transition into a new job. I'd appreciate it if everyone reading this could help dispel all this fake rumors by spreading this info. Jimmy spends unfathomable amounts of money and time to ensure the integrity of what he does, and I hate to see it come into question with a bunch of lies. Dawson, if you leave this up, then you're a hypocrite. With accusations of lies, fake evidence, and creating a baseless hit piece, it wouldn't be long before Dawson would respond in the comments, defending his original video, stating, "Debunking your debunking. Good character assassination attempt. You leave out my unpaid trial period and also my time working for Idea Guys, a company for which MrBeast is a client. The founder of Idea Guys also had to get permission from MrBeast to hire me, so weird you guys didn't tell him that I was erratic. Also, weed and shrooms was an obvious joke. Jimmy doesn't know more than like a dozen people. You expect people to believe this? How many people do his employees know? Who is the contestant in the Train vs Pit? How about Lambo vs Shredder? How did Ava's cousin Justin get into the Chocolate Factory video? Or Della vlogs? CGI is clearly not a secret. Cool, so when Jimmy was accused of using too much CGI in Train vs Pit, why did he deny it on Twitter? The raccoon was a paid actor. Bruh, you expect people to believe Chris and Chandler were petting an actual wild raccoon? From your own source on the island. The transfer tax was $1, and the company also paid $27 in tax and fees for the property. Also, you lease it back to the owner for $0. $1 plus $27 equals $28. This wink was added in post. It was. Compare that wink to the other contestants' winks in other scenes, or none of his TikToks. His mouth always partially opens. Here, that doesn't happen, because in the original footage, it was a blink, altered to match the false revenge narrative. Interesting how you didn't mention altering the timers or contestant dialogue in post. Not only were the results of this video completely scripted, but the contestants are not random subscribers. You acknowledge that the contestants were not random subscribers, but refuse to acknowledge the clear rigging that can be seen multiple times on camera. Please watch Upper Echelon's video analyzing the case law regarding this rigging. Also, I've now heard from multiple people on the boys team that they were fed much later than the girls, and that the production team was clearly favoring the girls. Days later, on the 1st of August 2024, Dogback would reveal that he'd received a cease and desist letter from MrBeast, demanding that he would immediately take down the video, delete his Reddit, and not spread any more information relating to MrBeast. Dogpack seemingly had no fear for the cease and desist letter, as the video would remain up, and he would tease a second edition, which would supposedly expose MrBeast even further. Amazing YouTuber Oompaville would publish a video on the 2nd of August 2024 interviewing Dogpack, where he would reveal more details surrounding MrBeast, with new allegations of mistreating animals during filming.
Dude, the raccoon, in reality, it's much worse than being a paid actor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a domestic raccoon that they brought to the set, and they're like sort of treating it like a prop. They're putting it in the ceiling and then pretending like, you know, they just discovered it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's a scene where somebody off camera takes the raccoon and like throws it onto the bed. And I'm sure you could pull this clip up. The edit is very strange because there's a zoom in and pan up. So it like hides the fact that the raccoon is going on the bed. But what it's really doing is hiding the fact that someone's throwing the raccoon. And then there's a voiceover in post of Jimmy saying, "Oh man, the raccoon just ran in the hotel," or whatever. And they're like screaming at it and shit. So it's like almost, I wouldn't say animal abuse, but like it's kind of borderline mistreatment when you're just like using it as a prop and then just scaring it for no reason.
Dogpack would also address his MrBeast non-disclosure agreement, claiming he didn't break it despite posting the video.
Because actually people think that I broke my NDA, but like 90% of that video is public information, and then like the other 10% is about crimes. I was like, it was pretty decently strategic. I don't think they would have a case, and like I've spoken with lawyers and everything, so
When discussing the cease and desist letter, Dogpack seemed unusually calm and collected about it.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel nervous or do you feel
No.
excited?
I feel confident.
You feel
I'm not excited. But
little nervous, a little bit. You got to feel a little. I would be shitting myself if I were you.
no, I'm not shitting myself.
Well, you're
Because it was 100% expected. It was 100% expected.
Right. I mean, to be honest, it's cool to be nervous and not scared though, because you are coming from the perspective of this is what you believe is truth, and you're doing this out of good faith. Like it doesn't.
Dogpack would also bring up new evidence potentially linking Chris Tyson into the alleged fake giveaways.
I do have new evidence of potentially another legitimate crime, which is that I talked about the golden ticket giveaway for the Willy Wonka video and how one of those tickets went to a YouTuber called Della Vlogs. There was another former employee DM'd me on Twitter, and he told me that there's another contestant in that video who his name is Justin, and he's Ava Chris Tyson's cousin. If they have some explanation, like maybe the contestant dropped out or something and they replaced him with him, then it could be fine. But in a sweepstakes, if he actually won a golden ticket, which is what the employee is telling me, then that's completely illegal because you have to disqualify your family members.
With no signs of Dogpack backing down or removing the video, MrBeast would allegedly send him another cease and desist, reading, "Dear Mr. Dogpack 404, this firm has recently been retained by MrBeast YouTube LLC and its founder, Jimmy Donaldson, regarding the unsettling news that you have embarked on a campaign to disparage MrBeast as a company and defame Jimmy Donaldson as an individual. Not only are your statements about MrBeast and Jimmy Donaldson untrue, they also violate the clear binding, enforceable terms of your confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement with MrBeast, dated on March 25th, 2024. Along with the cease and desist, Dogpack would post a tweet indicating MrBeast may have been using intimidation techniques to scare him into silence, with a tweet reading, "Also, my number got leaked, apparently from a MrBeast employee named Kaylee. I've been getting texts from former MrBeast employees. A text I received last night claims that James wants to have private investigators start following me and looking into my family's social media accounts to find ways to discredit me. Apparently the best narrative they have right now is that I'm a crazy drug-addicted MrBeast superfan that got fired for trying to steal company funds. If this text is true, I will say, MrBeast, if you want to resort to personal attacks, I'm happy to reciprocate. Or, just address the evidence." With a tweet containing screenshots displaying the text reading, "Dude, has anyone at MrBeast contacted you about the posts you're making? I've been reading the NDA over to see what I can and can't post, because I'd like to move on with my life and try having some type of social media presence, not planning on ever mentioning I worked at MrBeast, but if it got out or I somehow accidentally mentioned it, I wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna get sued to hell. Also, if you're going to post my message for proof you worked at Beast, I don't care, just don't show my number and you can save it how you want. Also, I got your number from Kaylee. I don't have access to anything Beast, like Slack or anything. Obviously, I'm not a Beast employee, I'm a former employee. Someone else I knew told me they texted you on Reddit talking about Kaylee and Leroy. I'm not that person and I won't mention any current or former MrBeast employees because of an NDA." As well as another message which was much more disturbing, reading, "Dawson, I'm texting you anonymously to let you know that I heard James wants to have private investigators start following you and looking into every detail of your life. He wants them to reach out to your former employers, find all your social media accounts, your family's social media accounts, videos of you, anything. They already have a Google Doc listing possible ways to discredit you, including you're on drugs and have mental health problems, your mum is bipolar, you were an obsessed superfan, you were crying begging to get your job back after they fired you, you tried stealing company funds, etc. I don't know what's true and what's not, but personally, I really think you should just take everything down ASAP. If you take it down, they'll leave you alone," with Dawson responding saying, "You're trolling. What?" The tweet also contained a screen recording displaying some of the strange and deranged messages. Following this, Dawson would also address the substance use allegations to make it clear that he was sober when recording the video. With everyone waiting to hear MrBeast's potential response, on the 4th of August 2024, he would upload a video titled "Survive 100 Days in Nuclear Bunker, Win $500,000. With the video not mentioning the recent controversy at all, viewers would flock to the comment section to express their thoughts on the allegations. However, whenever viewers seemed to leave a negative or critical comment, it would seemingly instantly disappear, with several tweets being posted showing how fast they were being censored. This led many users to suspect the MrBeast team was deliberately censoring negative comments. Over time, YouTube creators like Upper Echelon would conduct in-depth analysis into how and why the comment section was being altered, and made some very shocking observations.
This right here is the 36-hour period of time where the comment section of that latest video was scraped repeatedly accidentally and archived. Green is the total number of comments posted. Red is the total number of comments allowed to remain on the video actively. Over that one single 36-hour period from August 4th to midway through August 5th, over 26,000 comments were deleted at a consistent rate, as well as in 2 very large major batches. In addition, we can infer a couple of things from this graph, such as the usage of automatic filters, which would explain why the rate of new comments very suddenly drops off a cliff, also corroborated by showcasing the number of comments containing certain keywords over time.
Since viewers couldn't leave critical comments, they'd simply dislike the video, which resulted in an estimated 2 million dislikes compared to just 4 million likes. But we'll talk about that again later. As you'd expect, MrBeast attempted to discredit this information by claiming there were only 37,000 dislikes on the video within the first few hours of release.
Keemstar, after deleting a post about how many dislikes the video had received, allegedly showing footage directly from MrBeast about the real numbers. This footage, apparently from August 3rd to 4th, showed 3 million likes but only 37,000 dislikes, which is actually lower than the entire channel average if you look at the typical ratio of 98.2 versus 98.8%. Keemstar firmly asserts that he was not lied to, he was not misled, and that he believes these numbers are fully accurate. But I would like to assert in my opinion that these numbers are in no way, shape, or form even close to accurate, especially when you consider and understand the full scope of what's going on behind the scenes.
Altering comments and obscuring dislikes was only the tip of the iceberg, as MrBeast and his team allegedly had gone back to edit out portions of previous videos to control the narrative.
What's even more interesting is that if you go to an archived version of this video, you'll see that the length is 12 minutes and 48 seconds. However, the current version on the MrBeast channel is 10 minutes and 26 seconds. Here's why. At roughly 9 minutes and 30 seconds in, as stated in the comments that were mass deleted, a portion of this video was cut out that showed the team in a living room, and on the wall, sure enough, is a Shadman poster. The same poster that Ava Chris Tyson bragged about making a centerpiece of the living room. MrBeast went back to a video from 6 years ago. He deleted an entire month of comments, as well as stealth edited a portion of the video out to hide things.
By the 8th of August 2024, Dogpack uploaded the sequel to his initial expose video on MrBeast, which brought forward even more damning allegations.
So just before I get into my interrogation with former MrBeast employee Jake Weddle, a lot has happened since my last video. After posting I got hundreds of messages from former MrBeast employees, and I had them all send proof of former employment. Just people showing their support or telling their stories of fake videos or unsafe practices, toxic workplace, stuff like that.
Dogpack would also claim MrBeast was very aware of the current controversy and was planning to release a statement, but held back to see what else would be made public.
And also I have more serious allegations that I want to start covering. Also, I heard from a very credible source that MrBeast has been sitting on a response to part 1 because he was worried if he posted it, I would instantly respond with part 2, like this is Kids Bop, Kendrick Lamar vs. Drake. Also, I know MrBeast's secret CEO has been practically harassing my people on, hey, what's in part 2? What does he know? So I will just tell you, James, what will be in part 3, so you don't have to harass my people. It will be about serious allegations of sexual misconduct in the company and your direct involvement in covering up those crimes. And I'll make sure to give you full credit and plaster your face all over the screen when we talk about that.
While Dogpack wasn't able to discuss what happened with other MrBeast employees, he managed to interview a former employee named Jake Weddle, who knew what MrBeast was like behind closed doors.
So anyway, my interview with Jake Weddle, I chose to interview him because I thought he was perfect because he was both on camera and behind the scenes in 2019 and 2020. And also, what people don't know is that he came back in 2021 to be the sole contestant of a MrBeast video, which never got uploaded because it went very badly. He also knows about another portable document format who was working at MrBeast while actually on the registry. And I'll get more into that story at the end of the video.
At the start of the interview, Jake stated that he'd been featured in several challenges, and that he was part of the MrBeast team long enough to witness their transformation from a small channel to a media giant.
I'm Jake Weddle. Most people who, if you know me from MrBeast, I'm a deep cut. I'm in a few of the videos, sometimes maybe purposefully kept to the shadows a little bit. I'm in the cutting room floor a lot of the time. But I've been in some videos. I've worked on a lot of them. I was there from 2019 to 2020, 2021-ish when I came back and did some more. I was there when they were authentic, and then I saw the transition to what I feel like is a company. He's like a TV show now. It went from YouTuber guy with a camera to Amazon.
Jake continued by highlighting toxic patterns in the company's work culture, like employees being forced to stay on MrBeast's good side to avoid being mistreated, and MrBeast's extremely controlling attitude.
The culture around there was very unspoken, but there was a vibe. There was half the people who, if you made Jimmy happy, you were on the good half. And these people got random bonuses and were usually moved up, had more screen time. And then there was people who, if you had a disagreement or butt heads with Jimmy or just you didn't like it, you were the other half. And I consistently was in the half that Jimmy doesn't like me. That's fine. I don't like him either. It's okay. Oh, that feels so good to say. I don't like Jimmy. I hate you so much. He didn't want anyone to get more popular or have more of a way out necessarily. Like, oh, I'm doing my Twitch thing on the side. Don't do that because you could get famous and leave and talk about me negatively. And I could tell that the yes men were, doing well, and I was, disgruntled for quite some time. So I've talked to reporters, right, like publicly, and I've always had to choose my words very, very carefully because I don't want to say anything I don't stand behind, obviously. So I used to talk to people. I used to glaze Jimmy publicly for things I do genuinely think are true. But then it's like, well, how come you didn't talk about the working conditions? Well, I wanted a career.
Things were allegedly so toxic that Jake and one of his co-workers were fired for simply asking for better compensation.
I feel really guilty about the way this shook out. Yeah, I was talking to this other writer, Mike, it's fucked up, that's how the pay is, and I want you to get paid more, because you deserve to get paid more. I don't have a kid. And he didn't want to rock the boat. He desperately didn't want to rock the boat. He's just, I like my job. I like, because when you grow up with, nothing, not to say that he did, but I know I did, You get a little something, you don't want to lose it. So he didn't want to rock the boat. But he said, hey man, if that's how you feel, if that's I trust you. He stood with me. He went into that meeting with me. And I said my piece and he backed me up. I said, I need XYZ or I'm out of here. And they said, bet. And they gave me a severance check the next day. And they gave him a severance check the next day. And if I knew.
From Jake's perspective, MrBeast's generosity is extended to his workers, but only shown to people who can thank him on camera.
I think Jimmy wants to be the best YouTuber. I think he is laser focused on one goal. And I think whatever he has to do to achieve that goal, he'll do. And I think it was the smartest decision for him that he calculated, because he's very good with numbers. If I donate to charity, people can't say I'm shitty.
While he didn't work for MrBeast anymore, Jake still had the chance to be part of certain videos. However, one challenge in particular didn't go as planned and cost Jake much more than a paycheck.
If I did do mini challenges in that I got paid, I was clocked in with a rate, and I would get paid and compensated for those. But there was one video I was in, I got paid a lot for, but it didn't come out. It didn't come out because it didn't go well. There was a video that came out probably like a year ago, something like that. It got a lot of hot water when it came out. It was the surviving $10,000 every day you survive in solitary, or surviving solitary for whatever. It was one of those solitary confinement videos that got a lot of media attention because everybody saw the premise and thought, what? You shouldn't do that. And if people don't know, that was the second attempt. The first attempt was on me. And it didn't go well.
According to Jake, MrBeast's team offered him a challenge lasting 100 days in solitary confinement, getting paid $10,000 per day. Despite the inherent risk associated with extended solitary confinement, MrBeast's team assured that it would be a fun experience and that proper safety measures were already in place.
They're pitching it at first it's gonna be like a luxury vacation. You're gonna have a hot tub and an ice cream machine, and part of the video is gonna be you deciding what items am I gonna get rid of, today, and it's the choice. They were it's only going to be bad for maybe the last 5 days tops when you have nothing left. You're the first, it's going to be a breeze for most of it. And by the end of it, after 30 days, you're going to get $300,000 because it's $10,000 a day. And I don't know, man. I grew up poor in North Carolina. I said, excuse me? I'll dance for you if you put that kind of money in my face, sure. They were like, you're gonna be locked in this room and we gotta make sure you're on all the time. We're gonna have cameras on you all the time and you're perfect for this because you never shut the fuck up.
Unfortunately, things wouldn't go to plan, and Jake was left to deal with the consequences.
And it got to a point where like they weren't turning the lights off. You know, I asked them, I said, can we like have like nighttime hours? You know? And they said no, because it would fuck up the time-lapse shots. The time-lapse of what? Me sleeping? Or me not sleeping? Yeah, I saw in other videos they did like, oh, you're gonna get XYZ hours of sunlight. Oh, great! Wanna know how they figured that one out? I didn't have it!
Even though Jake was battling sleep deprivation, an uncomfortable living environment, and exhaustion, allegedly, MrBeast was only concerned with getting a clip of how grateful he was to finally be able to pay his student loans.
Jimmy would come in like every other day for like an hour, you know, to check in on me because he's doing other stuff. You know, I'm just the guy in the cage over here. He'll come back to me in a minute. And so he'd come by, he'd get the shots, he'd leave. Sometimes he'd have a note for the director over the phone. That would really piss me off. This is the note I got from the director, from Jimmy, when I'm receiving some cash. He said, Jimmy said, can you say to the camera how thankful you are that now you can pay back your student loans? You know how hard it was to do a take of that? And pretend to make it genuine?
The alleged damage done to Jake's mental health would become so apparent that even editors took note and were extremely concerned about his well-being.
I'm locked in a cage at his whim. And I have to do things to get the cash I need to live. And I got these cameras on me all the time. And I was unwell. I had editors coming up to me saying, "You good, bud?" And I was like, "Yeah, why? You're clearly unwell." And he goes, well, because the footage you're sending in is haunting. Because I'm trying to be funny, but I am mentally decaying, so I'm doing bits. Someone said there is a horror cut of a video in this.
Sadly, this allegedly wasn't enough for MrBeast to care, and told Jake to get ready to run a marathon.
And he comes in, he wakes me up. And he goes, ask me why I have 2 briefcases. And I'm like, why do you have 2 briefcases? And he goes, oh, because this one's for today, you know, and this one's for the challenge. And I go, what's the challenge today? He goes, you're gonna run a marathon. You're gonna do 22.6K, whatever it is. And you're gonna do it on that treadmill over there.
Feeling pressured to keep the production going and not wanting to lose prize money, Jake gave in to MrBeast's demands and got on the treadmill.
And so I wanted to be a good sport, and I wanted to get the boost, and I wanted the cash, and so I started running at 12. I was able to take some breaks, and I asked him, how long do I have? He goes, until I get back. And I'm running until 3 a.m. I got off the treadmill. Oh, the blisters I had on my feet were like, you wouldn't believe, just all over, just these big red. I couldn't walk. My muscles were like just the lactic acid. I got off the treadmill, and then the people that came in to like ice my feet, you know, make sure I was good. Then that's when I was like, I'm done. I can't. I'm done. I'm out. I'm out.
While MrBeast agreed to let him end the challenge early, he didn't let Jake go without making sure he wouldn't take legal action.
Then everybody was around me, making sure I was good, making sure I was okay. But Jimmy had his he was sitting in the chair turned around like an evil villain. Swear to God, everyone was looking at me and he was like Lex Luthor over there. He turns around, he stands up. He does the exact same thing when he's pretending to have a human connection. As if rehearsed by his lawyers. Yeah, you know, your mental health's the most important thing, you know, just want to make sure you're okay. And the last thing we want you to do is... I can almost hear the word Sue come out of his mouth. The S, he just stopped right before it got out.
If Jake's statements are true, then it's apparent that MrBeast is almost always hyper-fixated on the goal of making a good video, and seemingly doesn't care about what he has to do to get there. This train of thought was only supported by the company's alleged stance on being told no when trying to film a video.
When dealing with people outside MrBeast Productions, never take no at face value. If we need a store to buy everything inside of, and you can call the local Dollar Tree, and the person that answers says no, you can't film here, that literally doesn't mean shit. Talk to other employees and see if they are fans or if any have kids that are fans. Try talking to their boss's boss. Have me DM them on Twitter and try their social team. If all avenues are exhausted and you are left with a no, that doesn't mean don't try the other Dollar Trees because the manager of those could be huge fans and willing to bend the rules. Basically what I'm trying to convey is what we call pushing through no. Don't stop because one person told you no. Stop when all conceivable options are exhausted.
When the topic of Ava Tyson's situation came up, Jake shared some rumors about a PDF working at the company.
Was covering stuff up. He didn't want stuff to come out. You know, he's very careful about his image. You know, the tangible proof that he knew but covered it up. You know, how do you prove that, you know? Well, there was a known sex offender, registered sex offender, convicted sex offender on the registry and everything who worked there. And like you can, you know, someone pees in public, you're on the registry, you know, you get it. You can still have a job after you're on the, that's one thing. You know, you go to prison, you get rehabilitated, that's one thing. You know, like if you do your time, that's fine. I think there should be rehabilitation in this country. But that guy, from what I hear, I can't confirm or deny, from what I hear, he's on the registry for doing some not great stuff to some underage people. And they knew that. And he's working at a channel that has underage people on and around and is targeted to underage people.
When you consider the fact that the majority of MrBeast's audience are children, the possibility of a registered PDF being on set and in videos becomes too alarming to ignore. Stranger still, most of the MrBeast team were apparently aware of this, and seemingly even made jokes about it.
But when I was there, they called him Delaware. He's like, why do you call him Delaware? I didn't know. Apparently they called him Delaware because he's not allowed to go back to Delaware. That's his nickname? Colloquially? Like, you know, yeah, it's Delaware. Don't ask him why, you know? The fuck?
At the end of the interview, Dogpack presented an audio recording from another MrBeast employee that alleged that the MrBeast team is currently trying to cover up Delaware's record. Within 24 hours of Dogpack's video going live, it garnered over 7 million views, and forced a response from someone who used to be on the MrBeast team, named Jake the Viking. In the Twitter post, Jake would acknowledge that Delaware was a registered PDF, but not only that, but also his brother-in-law. But that wasn't the full story, with the tweet reading, when he was 21, a 16-year-old girl accused him and others of SA when she was 11. Delaware took a plea deal, but there was no jail time, but he still had to register. In addition to this, Jake stated the real reason his brother-in-law was given the name Delaware, reading, his nickname isn't Delaware because he can't go back to Delaware, he's from Delaware, he's been back several times. Jake also stated that Jimmy knew about Delaware's record before hiring him, reading, before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mum, and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew. But again, this incident happened in 2010. Delaware was hired in 2017/2018. According to Jake, the charges against Delaware wouldn't be an issue for much longer, and claimed he had never been a risk to children on or off set, reading, Delaware charges are said to be dropped this fall. Hurting kids in any way is completely unacceptable, but in the case of Delaware, I firmly believe he did nothing wrong, and look forward to the day these charges are dropped. The fact that MrBeast hired a registered PDF file to work on content he makes targeted towards children was disturbing to everyone that read it, and with all the new allegations arising every single day, there seems to be a pattern in behavior coming from Jimmy, a pattern of trying to cover up sensitive situations rather than acknowledge them publicly. On the 23rd of June 2024, MrBeast would launch a new version of his Feastables chocolates in Australia, and announced a promotional campaign that offered buyers a chance to win one of 10 cars.
I just launched Feastables in Australia, as you can tell by the Sydney Opera House. And to celebrate, we're going to be giving random people that buy Feastables this Lamborghini and 9 other cars.
That's a lot of cars.
Right, Laserbeam? I'm just here because I'm Australian. No joke, all you have to do,
just go to your local Woolworths or any of these retailers in Australia and buy a Feastables bar.
The promo would last from the 23rd to the 25th of June, with thousands of Australians participating in the event. In theory, this was a good way for MrBeast to expand his product into a new market and build hype around the brand. Unfortunately, things wouldn't go to plan, with many users facing technical issues with the minigame meant to decide the winners.
And I played your little game and I won. And then you told me womp womp. And if y'all don't believe me, I actually screenshot my game. See, look, I won. But then you said no. And when I reached out to your team, they said, Sorry for the miscommunication. You're not one of the registered winners. Here's 10 free spins. 10 free spins? I'd rather take the car, personally. And look, I found out I'm not the only one who's had this issue. There's actually been a lot of people on this app and other apps sharing their experiences, showing screenshots of them winning and being told, sorry, not this time. So what's going on? Because I don't understand how we can play a game, win, and be told we don't win.
As the promo continued, even more consumers shared videos of themselves lining up the slots, but not winning.
Ooh! What the fuck?
This pattern of users not being registered as winners, despite winning the associated minigame, would become so frequent that it made the local news, with a headline reading, Sydney woman believed she'd won a MrBeast car, only to be told there was an issue with her competition entry. However, once the dust had settled and the prizes had been won, one of the winners decided to share what it was like to be part of the Feastables promo.
I think it was like the 5th spin. It said, you've won a car. It played a video.
I need you to come to the Sydney Opera House right now so we can figure out which car is yours. You better hurry.
What the fuck?
I answered, and then it was Jimmy.
Hey, how's it going? Did you buy a Feastables bar?
I did today.
And you scanned the QR code on the back, right?
I did, that is correct.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Yeah. You're one of our 10 winners.
Oh my god, dude.
So in 2 days, I need you to meet me at the Sydney Opera House.
Yep.
I have a Lamborghini, I have Teslas, I have nice cars. You're gonna compete against 9 other people at the Sydney Opera House.
Yep.
And where you place will decide whether you win the 6-figure Lambo. Alright, see you then, bye.
Bye. Oh my god!
Although the contestants were randomly picked, the minigame that users interacted with clearly had bugs that caused it to display invalid results, causing several users to believe they'd won a car. Obviously, with all these allegations piling up, things aren't looking good for MrBeast, and despite the alleged removal of comments and attempt to clean up the allegations, the comment section on MrBeast's recent video is still negative, with comments reading, address the allegations, we all miss the old MrBeast, as well as MrBeast is a villain now. Whilst it's likely MrBeast is uncancelable due to how large his audience is, and how many of them wouldn't even know the allegations existed, it's safe to say the recent controversies have resulted in a huge hit in his reputation, and with his response being legal threats to silence people for speaking out, it seems like this will stain MrBeast's legacy moving forwards. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated on the situation.